This is where we don't just listen. We really get into the music, kind of competitively. You know, we love digging up surprising facts, making tricky topics fun. Well, today's quest is just like that. We're jumping into what one blogger, Greenstrokes, calls the World Cup of Music. Basically, trying to find the best album ever. The setup's pretty straightforward. Albums get randomly tossed into groups of 4, you listen loads, rank them, and the top 2 advance. Today, we're zooming in on one particular group, Group 90, and it's got a great title, Legend in Our Time. It's quite the lineup. We're going to unpack Greenstrokes' whole listening process and, his final calls.
Yeah, what's really interesting here, I think, is how this whole quest forces you to think differently about listening. It's not just, do I like this? It's why. How does it actually stand up when you listen closely multiple times? And it really brings up that big question, doesn't it? When we talk about the best art, especially music, what are we even measuring? Technical chops, how it makes you feel. Is it being groundbreaking or, something else?
Absolutely. And Greenstrokes definitely wrestled with that in this group. I mean, the Contenders are serious, real heavy hitters. You got Woodface by Crowded House, Legend by Clannad, Madonna's Immaculate collection, and Peace in Our Time by Big Country. Quite a mix. So before we get to who won, let's talk about that listening journey. Greenstrokes listened to each one multiple times. What kind of things jump out on repeat listens that might really shift a ranking like this?
Oh, it's huge. The first time through, maybe a catchy hook grabs you, right? Or a big vocal performance. But listen again and again. Suddenly you're hearing the bass line, like really hearing it. Or subtle keyboard textures, maybe complex harmonies you missed. Sometimes you even notice, like, the whole story the album's trying to tell. An early favorite might start to feel a bit thin, maybe, while some track you barely noticed at first really starts to shine. That's where, the real depth of musicianship often reveals itself. It goes beyond just that initial gut reaction.
That's such a good point, especially with artists this different. Like Greenstrokes mentioned Woodface by Crowded House. He said it had lovely stuff, highlighted 4 seasons in one day, which is a classic, but felt the album seemed to fade after that, which kind of suggests maybe it was a bit front-loaded.
Yeah.
And that consistency across the whole album really matters in this kind of ranking.
Exactly. Consistency is key. And then you compare that to something like Madonna's Immaculate collection. Now, that's a greatest hits, right? So a bit different. Greenstrokes acknowledged some strong pop songs from her, earlier peak, pre-mid-90s stuff. But a compilation, it's tricky. Sure, it's designed to be all killer, no filler, peak moments only, but does it hang together as a single artistic statement like a studio album does? Still, you can't deny the power of just hit after hit after hit. It obviously made an impression.
Right. Which brings us to the 2 albums that actually did make it through, the ones Greenstrokes advanced. Taking the #1 spot in Group 90, winning pretty easily according to him, was Peace in Our Time by Big Country. He praised its, quote, real quality and musicianship. He pointed to tracks like King of Emotion, River of Hope, Time for Leaving, and In This Place.
And it's interesting, he specifically called out musicianship for Big Country because their sound, that signature guitar sound, people called it EBO, or even compared to bagpipes. It was so unique. It created this huge anthemic texture. You didn't hear much elsewhere in rock then. It wasn't just about catchy tunes. It was about building this whole immersive sound world. Yeah. That distinctiveness clearly cut through.
Totally. And then coming in second, also moving on, was Legend by Clannad. This one got praised for its luscious and sweeping harmonies, which Greenstrokes called quite beautiful.
Yeah, Clannad's magic really is in those harmonies, isn't it? That blend of voices rooted in Gaelic traditions, but with this ethereal quality. They mix traditional folk sounds with subtle electronics, creating this really rich, atmospheric soundscape. It's not just pretty singing. It evokes like a deep sense of place and feeling. It feels both ancient and modern somehow.
Yeah.
Totally captivating. A very different kind of musicianship compared to Big Country, but wow, just as powerful in its own way.
So it's fascinating. 2 very different kinds of musical strength, one out in Group 90. One album driven by that unique, powerful rock instrumentation and solid songs, the other by these incredible atmospheric vocals and traditional roots. It really shows the different ways music can just grab you.